It's pretty crazy over there. The line's out the door.
Early voters met with long waits across central Indiana. We have team coverage on the first day of open polls. Voters first lined up around 8 o'clock this morning.
Wow, a lot of them out there. The average wait time here in Marion County, nearly 3.5 hours. We'll get to Julia Dang and Aaliyah Hodges in just a moment. Let's start with I-Team 8's Richard Essex. He's downtown where all of these polls just closed.
If you are in line at 5 o'clock to vote, you will still be allowed to vote. Now, I've been down here since about 10 o'clock this morning, and at times the line went up Delaware, across Washington Street, down Alabama, and then started to twist right around through the plaza. Now, the county clerk, I talked to her a little while ago, she said they were expecting this kind of action today. First thing this morning, the line at Marion County's only early voting center was wrapped around the City County building. Melody Howard is a school teacher on fall break. When I caught up with her, she'd been in line for 2.5 hours.
So I felt like I need to get out here, stand in this line with all these wonderful people, and cast my vote so we can get the right people in office to take care of us.
Due to COVID-19 health restrictions, getting into the clerk's office to vote is going to take longer than it has in past elections. The number of people allowed in this space is limited and monitored. When one person leaves, another one is allowed inside. The voting machines are cleaned with a chemical disinfectant between use, and election staff is separated from the voting public by plexiglass.
We got here at 8:30 and it was already wrapped around down there.
Connor Caldell says he is a presidential history enthusiast and has voted in every presidential election since he was 18. But this is the first time that he has voted early.
My dad's a postal worker. I trust the Postal Service. They work hard, but there's something about casting the ballot and turning it in. Until Saturday, October 24th, Marion County will have one early voting center open from 8 until 5 during the week and 10 until 5 on Saturday and Sundays. The county will add 5 additional voting centers on October 24th.
I did expect lines like this today because we are up on a very, very important presidential election.
The politics of this election is driving the number of people seeking, at least here in Marion County, to cast their vote early.
Well, I'm here early because I've been waiting for this moment for the past 4 years.
I want to be able to, I already know who I'm voting for. I don't really need much more information to decide on this election. It's pretty clear to me who the choice should be. So I want to make sure I get here and do my job as a citizen.
Marion County has seen a record number of mail-in absentee ballots go out for this election. Those ballots can be dropped off here at the clerk's office during early voting hours. Now, according to the Marion County clerk, she says that the lines for early voting in the 2008 presidential election were much longer than these. Now, so how many people voted today? We expect to get those numbers maybe sometime later tonight, most likely probably tomorrow morning. In downtown Indianapolis, Richard Essex, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
Richard, thank you. Voting locations outside of Marion County are also seeing an influx of early voters. News 8's Julia Dang is watching wait times and turnout numbers.
Well, election administrators across Indiana have been prepping for what may be historic early voter turnout. That line behind me here in Johnson County wrapped around the corner earlier this morning. We saw the same thing in Boone and Hamilton counties.
The line's out the door and up the ramp and around the corner.
John Vreems is planning to vote by mail this year, avoiding this line at the Johnson County Courthouse. He usually votes early, like everybody you see here. Some reported waiting up to 90 minutes today. Within 5 hours, nearly 400 voters were processed at this location in Johnson County, thanks to additional staff and equipment.
I think that we will surpass what we did in 2016.
In Hamilton County, more than 900 people voted by noon. Lines snaked out the door at both of the county's early voting locations. Wait times in Boone County were down to a few minutes by 10 a.m.
I didn't have to wait very long.
But voters came prepared after seeing photos of early morning lines across central Indiana.
My husband and I decided that if it was too big of a line, we can still come any other day.
Now, reasons I've heard for voting early here have ranged from crowding and COVID fears to scheduling conflicts on November 3rd. Unlike absentee voting, you do not need a reason to vote early in Indiana. In Franklin, Julia Dang, Wish TV and wishtv.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook.
All right, Julia, thanks so much. As you head to the polls in the next month, one organization is making sure you know your rights before casting your ballot. News 8's Aaliyah Hodges joins us now with those details. Aaliyah.
Well, yeah, the League of Women's Voters in Indianapolis, they're letting people know what to do to bring your voting location, also what resources are available in order to make your vote count this election.
There's 187 polling sites across Marion County. Each one has to abide by the Indiana Voter Bill of Rights.
They are allowed to bring a chair with them. They're allowed to bring water with them. They're allowed to bring a snack with them. And then once they actually get into the polling booth area, they are allowed to bring with them, for example, a sample ballot or some notes on who they want to vote for.
If you're a college student, listen up. Public school students are able to use their student photo ID. All other voters must have a government-issued ID.
So an Indiana driver's license, an Indiana state ID, a military ID, or a passport. And your passport does need to be valid.
If your right to vote is being challenged, a provisional ballot will be given. But with that comes one big problem.
It's not counted on election day. And if a voter is given a provisional ballot, they really need to understand that they have to follow up with the election board fairly quickly to then make a case for why their ballot should be counted.
And filling out a provisional ballot should be the last resort.
It is always within your right to ask the poll worker or the inspector to call downtown or to the election center for additional verification or additional information.
People with physical disabilities are able to ask for earbuds or a magnifying glass at the polling location. Hoosiers also have the right to bring someone with them or ask for assistance before entering the voting booth.
Voting that's step one, right, of the democratic process. Now, after the election, making sure that you're keeping up on your elected officials.
The League of Women Voters of Indianapolis and other organizations, they're hosting a webinar on knowing your voting rights next Thursday. Visit our website to learn more. I'm Aaliyah Hodges for WISH TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.